This is very important. You got to lay out every step. I mean, if you don't know the steps, then that's your first step is to find out what the steps are. Somebody has done what you're trying to do. I'm sure there's books about it. There's courses you can buy. You got to get a detailed plan. And maybe say you want to start a YouTube channel. All right. So maybe it's buy camera, get video editing software, get a computer to edit on. You list those things out, and then you put a deadline on each part, on each step. You need to be living out of your calendar. Like your whole life needs to be planned in your calendar. This is critical. You know, you really need to be using your calendar, and you'll get more time. It's almost like a cheat code in life. Once you start doing this, you'll get way more done than most people. Like people see me and they're like, Brandon, how do you get so much done? You're always moving and shaking. That's because I plan my time, dumbass. You fucking just doing shit randomly, man. My shit is planned out. You know what I'm saying? I have my fucking bedtime in the calendar. You know, I know exactly when I'm gonna do everything. I have my meals in the calendar. I'm trying to squeeze as much victory out of each day as I can, right? But if you don't plan that, you don't plan to fail. They fail to plan. Then you got to have discipline. We all know you have to have discipline. You know, discipline means you do what you're supposed to do when you're supposed to do it, whether you feel like it or not. I don't feel like talking to y'all right now, but I'm doing it, right? That's important that you do it during that time. Discipline is kind of like a muscle, right? The more you use it, the more you develop it. But the only time you get to work that muscle is when you don't feel like doing it. Because if you're motivated, if you're excited to do something, then it doesn't take discipline. So you're not using the muscle of discipline during that time. You're not building your discipline muscle when you're motivated, and you're not going to be motivated all the time. So the most important time to do something is when you don't feel like it, because when you fight your natural inclination to be a bitch and give up, when you fight that inclination and you do it anyway, then it'll be easier to do it the next time. And then it becomes easier and easier and easier. And it becomes harder for you to be a bitch. Right now, a lot of you guys, it's super easy for you to be a bitch because you've been being a bitch for decades, some of you. And being a bitch is habit forming, right? Once you give up on something, it becomes easier to give up again. Once you quit, it becomes easier to quit. And we say shit to ourselves like, oh, I can skip this workout. I'll eat this food this time, man. It's just one time. Within itself, in isolation, that one time is not a big deal. But the problem is being a bitch is habit forming. That's why you guys have such a difficult time being disciplined now, because you've been being easy on yourself. You've been saying, oh, I'll just do it this time. And it becomes easier to do it the next time. And it becomes harder to be disciplined when you need it because you haven't been working the muscle. You get what I'm saying? So you have to do it during that time. So you should be happy when you don't feel like doing something. I want you to reframe it and think, oh, now I have an opportunity to build my discipline muscle. I hope you guys are getting this. It's super important.